I was vacuuming the stairs and all of a sudden I looked up and Fox was running to me, and it was like he just fell and just fell at me, and I caught him in my arms, and then he just started convulsing and like, the foamy spit. And I didn't know, I had no idea. I thought that he was choking or he got electrocuted. Like I couldn't figure out what was happening. And my husband was right there and I handed him to him, and I called 911, and we had no idea. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. So we called 911. And by the time they got here with the ambulance, he'd stopped seizing and was just asleep, I guess, at that point. We rushed him to the hospital. The jerks and the drops, there was no when those were coming. And so he had several injuries from that too. We like that way. I'm scared you're gonna have to get him a helmet, because he's still, even today, he fell down and like hit his head on a concrete floor, and he has like a big bump on his forehead from that. On his birthday last year, he fell down and like broke a tooth out of his mouth from that. Yeah. The tonic-clonic seizures would last. They asked me to time them, so I would time them, and they never lasted really much more than a minute. And then afterwards, it would be like almost immediately fell back to sleep, and he would usually sleep for another hour or so and then wake up and be a little bit out of it, or start crying immediately, because he was young enough that he couldn't tell me what was happening, but I've heard people say they have a really bad headache afterwards, or so I assume that's what was going on. So I ask him now that he can talk, I'll ask him to tell me if his head ever hurts, and he says that it doesn't ever. So that's really nice. But no, I didn't. There weren't any warning signs for me, unfortunately. Really, I wish there had been, but I didn't have any clue that they were coming. Even the very first time, I remember the look on his face when he came at me was very scared. I know that he knew something was happening that day, because he was running at me before the seizure started. Like he wasn't feeling good. He knew, I think he must have been dizzy or something at that point to come to me.